Okay, so each and every day I will record what goes on in class, so everything that's on the smartboard and my voice, okay, will all be recorded and posted, and then you can watch that from Google Classroom. It's just a link to my YouTube channel in Google Classroom, so you can just click on that and watch and get everything that we did. Okay, and that is the expectation if you are not here, or if you just want to review that day's material, that's a good way to do it. Okay, so that will be available each and every day. If we do a lab or an assignment, it'll appear in the classwork tab as well as in the stream with all the stuff you need to do it. Okay, just make sure that you are staying on top of everything if that's the case. Okay. Okay, so you won't probably ever need to go to my YouTube channel directly to search for anything, but if you do, it looks like that. Okay, you don't need to subscribe or anything like that. I'm not monetized, nor will I ever seek to do that, even though I think I actually meet the qualifications now. But I won't be doing that, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, if you're ever looking to find something, there will be playlists. Okay, so there's a kinematics playlist, the dynamics playlist, and so on for the different units. But like I say, you'll probably just be linked here from Google Classroom. That's what's most likely going to happen. Okay. Yeah, so make sure, guys, that you stay up to date. Okay, if you come back after being gone for a few days, the last thing you want to ask me is, what did I miss? Okay, if you come back after being gone for 5 days and go, hey, Coderre, I'm back, what did I miss? You'll get this look. And I will say, a lot. And then I will walk away. Okay, because you should already know what you missed. All right, classroom behavioral norms. Okay, so just kind of how we behave and treat each other in class. Okay, biggest thing is respect. Okay, I will always treat you with respect. I'm never going to do something to embarrass you in front of everybody else. Okay, we don't know what everybody brings with them. Okay, on a day-to-day basis, not everyone has the same situation at home that you do. Okay, not everybody handles stress in the same way you do, and we have to be respectful and compassionate of that. Okay, for each person in this class, okay, and we have to be mindful of that. It's hard, okay, if you're dealing with anxiety or something like that, okay, I totally get that. I deal with it myself. Okay, there'll be days where I'll be up there and you'll see my hand shake. It's just something I got to deal with. Okay, it happens to everybody. Okay, and we just have to be compassionate and respectful of that. That some people are, gonna feel differently than we do sitting in class. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Okay, and if you hear the words "listen up," okay, that means I need your undivided attention. Okay, that would mean both ears free of earbuds and your eyes forward. Okay, paying attention could just be, listen up, today we're going over V equals D over T. Listen up, we're doing a lab today. Listen up, the building is on fire and we need to go now. Okay, something like that, but I need your full and undivided attention at that point. Okay. On the note of there's a fire, we need to go now. Our fire exits for this classroom. Primary fire exit is past the stairs into the languages wing, that door that basically goes out to the back parking lot. Okay? That is our primary fire exit. We exit that and we go to the football field. Okay? Our secondary fire exit is the front doors. Okay? So we go all the way to the office and out the front doors and into the parking lot. Our tertiary fire exit is out these science wing doors. Okay? I know that seems like it's closer, but the first 2 breaks of this school day, you probably noticed that this hallway is pretty jammed. Okay, so that's our last resort. It's our second last resort. Our very last resort is I get to throw a desk through the window. I get to throw it. Okay, so I'll decide. Okay. Closest bathrooms, obviously, right outside the door here. Girls' bathroom, boys' bathroom, gender-neutral bathrooms are by the gym. Okay, please go to whichever one is closest and appropriate for you, so we limit transition time and away from class. Okay. Okay, work. There's 2 kinds of work in this class. There's work that is never going to be checked or graded. Okay, that's stuff that's practice in class, so practice problems, okay, things like that we work on in class to get good at things and figure stuff out and ask questions about stuff like that. Okay, I'm never going to check any of that. It's never going to affect your grade. It doesn't mean it isn't important. Okay, you should do all of that work, even though it's not coming in for marks, because it will help you to do well on the stuff that does come in for marks. That's the second kind of work. Okay, so that would be lab reports, assignments, things like that. Okay, everybody clear on the 2 kinds of work? Please make sure you're getting both kinds of work done. Okay, especially the kind that affects your mark. Okay, if you're not doing that, then I'm gonna chase you. And you don't want that, because, well, I'm not as fast as I used to be, but I'll still be able to find you, okay? And I'll still catch up with you eventually. And yeah, it's not gonna work out well, because then you're gonna be in here at lunch, you know, losing your lunchtime with your friends, nighttime, after school. Because then I'll, you know, call home and go, little Johnny is having trouble getting all his work in, and I'm gonna keep him in at lunch. Is it possible that someone could come pick him up and he can stay after school with me a little bit? You don't want me asking your parents those questions, okay? Because almost universally, their answer is yes. And what else can we do to help you, Mr. Coderre? You don't want them to ask me that, okay? Because then, like, your car keys will disappear and your Xbox controller will vanish and all those fun things, and you'll be like 4 gray walls and bread and water until you're caught up. I don't want that for you, okay? So get your work in on time, and you won't have to worry about that stuff. Okay, so yeah, make sure you're getting it all done, okay, and know that in this class there are no rewrites, okay? You need to make sure you do things right the first time. So that means doing all of your work, graded or ungraded, coming in to see me for help if you need it. I have no life, okay, so I'm here all the time, okay? You can see me before school every day but Tuesday morning, because we have our meeting Tuesday morning, okay? You can see me at lunch every day that there is a lunch, and you can see me after school, Monday through Thursday until 3:50. And you have nighttime that you can come in here as well. Okay, so there's lots of opportunities to come in and get help or ask questions. Okay, fairness versus equality. Okay, I will always try to be fair to everybody. Okay, but from time to time in doing that, sometimes people are like, hey, he just said yes to that for that person, but he said no to that for this other person. That's not fair. Well, I treat everything case by case, okay? I don't want to have a black and white rule because the world is not black and white, okay? As I said before, everybody has a different situation coming in. So if you ever feel like I've been unfair, it is totally okay for you to come in and question me, okay? That's all right. I don't have any trouble defending my decisions, okay? So if you come in and say, Mr. Coderre, you know what, like, that person got an extension and I didn't. That doesn't seem fair to me. Okay, I'll do my best to explain it. Sometimes I might just have to say to you, look, things are different for everybody. Things are different for that person. I can't explain why, but know that I've been as fair as I can. And, you know, maybe I'll recognize that maybe I have done something wrong and then I'll fix it. Okay, I'll own it and then I'll fix it. All right, but I do my best to be fair. Okay, I'll give you an example here. About 12 years ago, I had these Science 10 class, I think, that was bringing in their labs. And all but 2 of them had it done. First guy that didn't have it done, Thomas. He never had anything done on time, like ever. But he was always brutally honest with me. Okay? Like if he didn't have it done, he told me exactly why, no matter how ugly that was. Okay? And he said to me, yeah, Mr. Coderre, I don't have it done. And I'm like, Thomas, for God's sake, this is like the 7th thing in a row. Like, you had 2 weeks to do this. How can it not be done? Well, I left it till last night. And the season finale of my favorite show was on, and it was boring, and I fell asleep, and I don't have it done. Okay, like I say, he was always brutally honest with me. He never tried to pull the wool over my eyes. But I said to him, like, okay, well, this is it. Like, you got to come in at lunch. You're taking late penalty on it. You're coming in at lunch to get it done. Like, this is ridiculous. Girl behind him, Raylene, always had her work done, like every single time. Okay, was meticulous about things. But she was green, like literally that sick green that people can get. Like she looked like she'd have to get better to die. Like that's how sick she looked, but she dragged her butt to school anyway. And she's like, Mr. Coderre, I don't have it done, and I'm shocked because that's not like her. And I said, well, why not? Like that's really weird. Well, I had everything but the analysis and conclusion done, and I was going to do that last night. And when I got home, when my parents got home, they had this huge, ugly fight in front of me and my 3 sisters, and then they stormed out of the house, and I had to make dinner, and all we had was frozen chicken, and I didn't cook it enough, and we all got sick, and we puked all night, and I don't have my work done, and I'm like, go home right now, like you need to go home and sleep, and get it done tomorrow or the next day or whatever, and I hope things are going to get better. And that's it. I gave her an extension. I didn't give Thomas an extension. I didn't think he deserved it. I hope I was fair. I think I was fair. Okay? But everybody comes from a different place, right? Everybody's got different things going on. So if I have ever been unfair, if I'm ever unfair, come and ask, okay? It's totally okay to call me on that, okay? I'm human being and I make mistakes. All right, and then accountability. High school's the start of real life, so due dates and timelines are part of your reality, so make sure you get stuff done, okay? I give lots of time for you to complete assignments, okay? The shortest turnaround you would ever expect to get in my class would be 2 school days. Okay, and I honestly don't remember the last time I made a turnaround for something that short. So what that would mean is, if we did a lab on Monday, the earliest it would be due would be Thursday. Okay, that would be the earliest, and I honestly don't remember ever having done that recently. Okay, so usually it's like 3 or 4, and if it's 3 or 4, there's probably a weekend in the middle. Okay, something like that, so you have lots of time. The reason I'm giving you lots of time, well, you might be busy. You're young, so you might have sports or a part-time job or both. Okay, or you know, you're wanting to manage your time and plan around your other classes. I want you to be able to do that. So I'm not going to say to you, here's 5 hours worth of work due tomorrow. That's ridiculous. I wouldn't do that. Okay, so you're always going to get enough time to get it done. That also means you have time to come in and ask questions if you need some help on something. Okay, and by the way, asking questions can be, you can pop in, okay, and you ask anyone who's taken any of my classes, you can come in and say, Mr. Coderre, my lab is done. Can you please look it over? Sure. Okay, I'll read it over, and if I think there's anything that needs fixing, I will tell you. If I think it's perfect, I will tell you. Okay, I'll say, it's good, turn it in. Okay, or I'll say, you know, you need to work on analysis question number 3. It was really asking about this and not that. Or your hypothesis is in the wrong format, you need to fix it. Okay, things like that. I'll give you the tips. Okay, I'm totally okay with doing that. All right. Okay, so when it gets to your marks, okay, the first thing is that I will not discuss your mark in class in front of everybody else. So if you have a question about your mark, come and see me after class, at lunch, after school, or something like that, okay, and I will discuss it with you then. That's simply a FOIP thing. And of course, how you approach it is also part of how it goes, okay? You don't want to be like the guy that came up to my desk after getting his lab back and went, that mark sucks! And I'm like, yes, it does. Sit down. Okay? That is not going to make me look over your assignment again. Okay? Now, if I mistotaled it, forgot to add something in, that's totally on me. I'll totally own that. Okay, but if you come up and confront me about your crappy lab report that you got the mark you deserved on, no. Okay, but if you come up and say, Mr. Coderre, I know you went over this, and I'm still not understanding why I didn't get marks on the analysis. Can you explain it to me? Totally. That's my job. Okay, I have no problem doing that. Right? It's just all about how you approach it. Okay, marks will be distributed according to the syllabus, so we'll look at the percentages here in a minute. Okay, and for all of your assignments and labs, if it's coming in on Google Classroom, it is due at 8:30 a.m. on the due date. If it's on paper, and there's a couple of things you'll hand in on paper, it'll be due start of class. I'll just ask for them at the start of class. Okay, but they have to be handed in at that point, okay, or they are late. And a 30% late penalty applies to any late assignments without a valid reason. Okay, now here's the reason why that late penalty is so stiff. You're going to get anywhere from 2 days to a couple of weeks to get things done, depending on the assignment. I will return your marked assignments the next day, every time. Okay? Ask anyone who's taken my class. All right? I have failed to do that in 25 years of teaching once. That was the day that my second son was born. Okay? I stand by my decision to hold my wife's hand and be encouraging while she squeezed out our kid, as opposed to sitting in the delivery room marking labs. Okay? It was the right decision. I totally stand by not getting those labs marked. Okay? But I did get them done the next day. Okay? But I'll get them back to you right away. All right? So I expect that your stuff is in on time. Okay. Questions on any of that? Okay. Physics 20 units. So there are 4 units in Physics 20. The first one is kinematics. Some of the stuff is going to seem familiar. Okay, some of the stuff you did in Science 10 is going to be in this lab, and we're going to build on it. So like V equals D over T. Acceleration. We'll build on acceleration a bit. We've got a few new formulas to use there. Okay. Projectile motion will also be in there, and there's a lot of stuff on vectors. Okay, now I will warn you, day one, vectors involve trigonometry. Okay, so that stuff you learned in Math 10, you're going to be using that, sine, cos, tan, okay, all that stuff. It is hugely important in the first 2 units of this course. Okay, if that is something you hated with a passion in math, well, you might hate it again. And I don't know, maybe there's a better option for you. I'm just putting it out there on the first day that that is going to be a big part of this course. Okay. That unit will take us probably, well, especially since we started this late, past Thanksgiving. Okay, I would say it's probably going to be like the 3rd week of October probably before we're done. Okay. The second unit is dynamics, and in dynamics we look at all the same kinds of motion we look at in unit 1, but instead of just looking at what's happening, we look at why. So we look at forces, energy, okay, work. Okay, work energy theorem is something you took in Science 10. We build on that, okay, in Physics 20. Conservation of mechanical energy, you did that in Science 10. We build on that in Physics 20 in Unit 2. Okay, so those 2 things will be familiar, okay, and they're in Unit 2 as well. Lots of Newton's laws, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, okay, are all part of this unit as well. It's also fairly long, probably be done that around middle end of November, probably around parent-teacher interview time, somewhere in there. Okay. Unit 3, circular motion and gravitation, is the shortest unit. It's like 3 weeks tops. Okay, we've done that before Christmas. Okay. And then the last unit is simple harmonic motion and mechanical waves. All right, that one will go right up to the end of the semester, and there we look at things like pendulums, masses on springs, mechanics of waves, okay, stuff like that. All right. Questions on any of those? All right. So your marks distribution will go as follows. Your unit exams are 45% of your final mark. So what is that, 11 and a half, something like that for each one, okay? Or 11 and a quarter for each one. Labs, assignments, and projects, okay, that's the stuff you're handing in from class, is 20% of your final mark. Quizzes, sorry, we didn't talk about those, I should have. Quizzes are 10%. Here's how quizzes work. You're going to have a quiz every Tuesday and every Thursday unless told otherwise. Okay, they are 5 or 10 minutes tops. They deal with like the last 3 days or so of the stuff we've been working on. But I will post a practice quiz with a solutions video, most of the time with a solution video, okay, Monday at 3:20 and Wednesday at 3:20. Okay, the expectation is you go home and do the practice quiz, watch the video, see how you did. Next day's quiz, sometimes it's exactly the same, but that's pretty rare. It's usually because I screwed up. Okay. Most of the time though, it's very similar. Like I change a number or I change the order or something like that. Okay. So doing those practice quizzes is totally in your best interest. Right. Now that said, if you're having 2 a week for an entire semester and they only add up to 10%, each quiz is worth basically nothing. Okay. That still means that they're important though. Okay. They give you a pretty good idea of how well you know the stuff we've been working on. And that's really all they're for. Okay, they're just a review tool, tell you, oh, well, I got 100% on this one, I must know this stuff pretty well. They also tell me whether we can move on or whether we need to stay put and keep working on something. Okay, so that's what they're for. And then your final exam, 25% of your final mark, end of January. Okay. All right, other questions that usually come up. What do I need for this class? Okay, you need at the bare minimum a scientific calculator. Okay, if you've got the graphing calculator from Math 10, that's even better, but not necessary if you don't want to shell out for the big calculator. You can get by with a scientific calculator like those. Like that was like $9 at like Walmart or something like that. Okay, they're super cheap and they'll do the job. Okay, if you don't want to have to shell out for the big one. Pencils, paper. Okay, this is really all the like hardware kind of supplies you're going to need. Okay, now in Google Classroom, if you guys can take out your phones and go there. Okay, most of this stuff you guys won't be able to see because I haven't made it visible to you yet, but here, these 2 things you will see. Okay, other important materials and notes and worksheet packages by units. Okay, there is a textbook for this class, but we don't use it. Okay, because, well, most of it is crap, and people always forget to bring it, so basically don't use it. Okay, so what you will need each day is, okay, the notes package, which is all one file, okay, and the workbook package for the unit we're on. Okay, now you got some options here. Lots of people just have the notes on their phone, and they're following along on their phone as we go through class. I'm totally fine with that. Okay, and know that if you're looking at this, it says your name and then Physics 20 notes package. That's because it's your file. So you can open that up in Google Docs on your phone, and you can make whatever changes to it you want. You can highlight things, you can add stuff in, okay? Whatever you need to do, that's what it's for, okay? It's your notes package, and because it's on here, it can't get lost. Even if you delete it, I can recover it because it's actually my file, okay? So it won't ever get lost, okay? So have that either electronically on your phone, and you know how the Wi-Fi is in the school. You might want to make that one available offline just in case the Wi-Fi goes down, or when the Wi-Fi goes down. Okay? Have it available. If you want to have it on paper, then by all means, go home and print it. I wouldn't print it in color though. Okay? Or you'll have one of those Shaquille O'Neal cartridge conniptions, you know, like, yeah, because it's a lot of pages all in color. I'd just print it in black and white and save yourself some money. Okay? So have that ready in whatever form you're going to use it, and have the Unit 1 workbook package printed. Okay? That one you're going to want on paper so that you can work through it. Okay? Just easier than typing math stuff into your phone. Okay? So that's what you'll need, and then obviously when we go to different units, you'll need different units workbook packages. Okay? The other stuff, I will give you copies of the formula sheet, but what's in other important materials is the course syllabus, which you have. I'll give you the equation sheet, and we'll talk about significant digits. That's basically just part of your notes. So yeah, that's all that you're going to need for this course. Okay, can I have food or drink in here? Yes, you can. I'm totally okay with that. If you make a mess, you clean it up. Okay? If you come in here each day with a 2-liter bottle of Coke and a 500-gram bag of Doritos, I will probably lecture you on your nutritional choices. Okay, but you can totally have food or drink in here. I'm totally fine with that. Okay, can I listen to music in this class? Conditionally, yes. Okay, the condition being, I'm not doing what I'm doing right now. Right, so if I'm teaching actively or talking to you, then I need both ears free of the earbuds and eyes forward. If we're working on a worksheet, and you just want to isolate so that you can concentrate better, by all means put your headphones on, okay, and do that. At that point, that would be okay. Okay. I think that's it. Any questions from you guys? Yeah, go right ahead. Okay. Any other questions from you guys? Anything I didn't cover? All right, I'll give you a couple of minutes here, guys, just to kind of get settled, and then we'll get started on Unit 1, Lesson 1.